Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Aldarra. Aldarra is brought to you by Arcane Minis. It's for 3 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, and games generally run 90 to 180 minutes. Hey folks, Mark here. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, this is a re-release of the Aldarra preview. Don't worry, you're not seeing double. Well, I guess you are seeing double. Mark over here, he's going to tell you more about the game and the story. I love the story on this game. I can't wait to hear it myself. But we'll jump over to Mark in a minute. Now, the thing is that I just have a couple small updates. Campaign is starting up again, and what they've done is made this game more cost effective. They've taken the giant miniatures and they've reduced them slightly. Let me show you some images, but they're not huge difference. They're still going to be full of all the detail they had before, just slightly smaller. And again, allowing the game to be more accessible for folks to pick up and enjoy. And I really like this new size actually, because I think everything's going to fit on the board just that much better, and that table presence will still be there. All right, so let's jump back over to Mark and he'll tell you more about it. The fabled nation of Aldarra was once a grand empire of Sordalite, a massive, sprawling setting of diverse nations, cunning crime syndicates, bustling economies, and adventure everywhere. However, it was lost more than 300 years ago to a powerful convergent storm. Aldarra was left uninhabitable. Centuries later, the chaotic magical energies began to finally subside. Now, Aldarra is being claimed by those seeking wealth, land, and power. Suddenly, nations from all over Sordalite's largest continent, Bordair, are sending fleets out to conquer the land. The first to stake their claim will reap the benefits, the power, the advancement, the riches, but who will emerge victorious? In Aldarra, you play as one of 4 mighty factions, warring for control of this long-lost nation. Each faction has its strengths and its history within the lore of Bordair. Players will select their factions and take as many paths as they can to emerge the new rulers of Aldarra. Will it be you? First and foremost, take a look at these miniatures. They are phenomenal. Now, these are just the prototypes. I can't wait to see the final because these look done and ready to go. They're just simply beautiful. You have airships and you have buildings. And you know what? I think we need more airships in games. And I love the theme of this in general. Now, through the course of this video, we're going to be mostly focusing on the Sindar Navy because they look like dwarves. Super cool. But each of the miniatures for all the different factions are going to look very different. But they all are going to have basically the same stats. And what does that mean? So you have light ships, you have heavy ships, you have your buildings, but basically they're all going to operate the same way between all the different players. However, where the variance comes into play is between those 4 factions. They all have their own special abilities, and they're all going to start with a specific type of discovery card. And we'll talk more about discovery cards in a minute, but those special abilities are going to be key to helping you, getting you through the game and conquer the world. All your ships and all your buildings can be upgraded, enhanced. So you'll pay the cost, you'll flip the card, and you'll have upgraded abilities for those units. Now, each player is also going to have some hidden objectives, secondary objectives. And in the course of the game, your goal here really is to get 20 victory points. And these objectives are going to typically give you 1 or 2 points, but you're trying to achieve these through the course of the game. And as soon as you do, you play the card, show it, and gather the victory points on the board. So each of these is crucial. You can ever only have 5 in your hand at any one time, but they are key to giving you more points. You can also buy victory points through the course of the game. There's a conversion on your player board showing what that is in crystals or in gold or money, I should say. And then you also are going to be getting a lot of victory points in battle, as this game is heavy in battle. You don't want to kind of turtle in a corner. You want to get out there and fight your fellow players because it is relatively easy to build up your forces if you do go down in flames. Now let's take a look at the world that you'll be playing in. The thing I like here is that every time you play, this world is generated, it's random. You can place out the tiles, mix them up, and lay them out. Now, the number of tiles will be varied based on 3 or 4 player games, but multiple types of locations to visit here. Obviously, you have your main bases that you'll be placing out, and your starting locations and so forth. But you've got different types of mines. You've got copper, gold, silver mines. You've got crystal deposits. You've got slipstreams, or jet streams, I should say, that are going to give you extra movement. You've got basic forests. You've got mountains that are going to slow you down. And you've got different types of areas for exploring. You've got the ruins, which will give you additional cards, things like that when you do explore. So all these different tiles, you're going to shuffle up and just randomly place them out. Now, they suggest you play symmetrically, but as you start to learn the game, you could do some really fun layouts for this world, make some choke points and so forth. There were 3 main phases to every round. You have the preparation, you have the expansion, and the management phase. Now, the preparation is really all about setting up the turn order, and whoever has the most victory points is going to go last in the order. And then you're going to set out crystals on the main board. You have crystal deposits. You're also going to roll dice and then randomly place additional crystals. Then we move to the expansion phase, and this is really, I would say this is really the heart of the game. You're going to be doing a fair amount of things in management, but the expansion, it really is where you're going to get the guts, where you start to explore the world and battle it out. So expansion is all about activating your units. You have an activation token, basically placing it in a territory and activating. So a couple different uses here. All your ships, the light ships can move 3 hexes, the heavy ships can move 2. So if you place your activation token in a spot where you have ships, you can fan them out from that location, being mindful of mountains, which will stop you. Or if you're in a jet stream, you get an additional movement point, things like that. And you can't move into other players' bases because you weren't invited after all. But the thing is that you also might be placing a token in an empty territory, trying to gather your ships to that spot. Again, being mindful of all the movement rules and so forth. But the thing is that you also are going to run into other ships, and as you do, you'll enter into combat right away. But you don't always have to do combat. Obviously, you're trying to occupy spaces to gather resources in the management phase, hoping to hold those spots, like the different types of mines or crystals, things like that. Those are your 2 main resources. But you can also explore. You don't have to do battles. If you go to a spot and let's say you're in the ruins, that gives you additional explore options. But you'll grab a token showing that it was explored already, and you'll draw an explore card. If it's a standard area tile, you'll only draw 1 card. However, the ancient ruins give you multiple options. You'll get 2 cards to resolve. These explore cards are going to have all kinds of various things, very useful through the course of the game. Exploring is really something you should consider doing a fair amount. But the thing is that some of the cards are going to do instant actions. You'll do what it says and discard it. Or you have ones that say hold. You can hold up to 5 explored cards in your hand at any one time and use them later in the game. So it is a very powerful thing to do, but only so many spots can be explored through the course of the game. So let's talk combat. As you move through this world, you will be coming into territories with your fellow player and combat begins. Now, the nice thing here is that as you play, you'll see that the money in this game really does flow pretty regularly. So even in battles, when you lose ships, you get coins. So as the attacking player though, you hope to be the attacking player because that's when you get victory points. If you win that overall battle, you happen to be the last ship standing, so to say. Each of the units will have stats showing which dice get rolled, as well as their shield value, basically their health. You need to meet or beat that value in order to destroy the ship or the building that happens to be in that territory or location. So you're going to start off with the light ships and you're going to roll simultaneously. You calculate your points and eliminate ships and pay out coins for those who lost ships. Now you also have exploding dice, which I really like in games. So if you get the asterisk, you get to re-roll, add that value in and so forth, and do even more damage to the fellow player there. So you'll go back and forth. So you start with light, you go to the medium, or not medium, but you go to the heavy ships, and then you do the buildings, and you calculate all the different damage and remove ships, pay out gold or coins, and then you have the opportunity to retreat. If you choose as the attacker to retreat, you move off to an adjacent location, and the battle is just over. Again, as the attacking player, you need to win that overall battle to get the victory point. But gold and coins are still going to happen as you lose ships. And the fact that you get coins for lost ships, and then again, more coins in the management phase, which we'll take a brief look at in a minute, is really advantageous to rebuilding your forces. So there really isn't a point in the game where you just feel like you're totally down and out. You feel like you always have an opportunity to come back and go after your fellow players. So the last phase of the round is the management phase. We'll quickly take a look at this. The thing is that you're going to be mining here. This is, you'll see the money starts really flowing. Right away you get 10 coins for your main location, your stronghold. And then you're going to get coins for all the different mines that you happen to occupy, or all the different locations on the board. So it's going to be varied based on it being copper or silver or gold. And of course, if you're in a location with the crystals, you're going to get those. Well, again, two main resources that you're trying to gather in order to build your forces and do various things. And you can also choose now to buy victory points. And this might be advantageous, especially if you're close to the 20. You spend those coins to do so and win the game, because that's the next step, is to see if anybody actually wins. And you check the win condition. If someone does, the game comes to an end and so forth. So you're looking for 20 victory points. And then you can choose to get more of these objective cards. So you can discard all the objectives that you have in your hand, these secondary objectives, and draw that mini back up, or you're just drawing a new one. Again, you can only hold 5 of these cards in your hand. So you'd be mindful about which ones you're going to be using, but you'll probably be achieving a lot of these goals through the course and needing new cards as you move forward. And some might be just really too difficult, so you can exchange them at this time. And then we have discovery. You have discovery cards in this game, which you start with 1, but you'll be drawing a number of cards based on the player count plus 1, and every player in turn order will get to pick one of those cards. You can never have 2 of the same type, but they are going to give you all kinds of special abilities through the course of the game. You really need to keep these in mind as you're playing and battling in this world. And then finally, you're just going to have the opportunity to build new ships. And you do have some limits about how many you can place in different locations and so forth. But you're going to spend that coin freely. You're going to need engineers to help build buildings. You're going to need more ships to use in battle. And perhaps you have your dreadnoughts. Those are the big boys to put out into the world. So this is your opportunity to build, to bolster your forces. And then you're moving on to the next round. And again, you're going to continue this way, round after round, until one player has hit those 20 victory points. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, there's a ton of miniatures in this game. They're big and absolutely beautiful. Even the prototype ones look fantastic. I can't wait to see the finished product. I love the battles in this game. It is dice chucking for sure, but it was a ton of fun. And you do have special abilities for your different factions, and the different abilities you get from discovery cards, adding a lot of flavor and aspects to what you're doing. And then using the tiles to your advantage to get resources, and as well as those objective cards giving you new other ways to get victory points. So there's lots of options in this game, but battles, I had a ton of fun with the battles. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.